What's up, you guys? Steven with Magic Metal Money. New Planeswalkers for Strixhaven, early previews. This is going to be a fun one. We're just going to review these Planeswalkers, see if we think they're powerful, what they can do in constructed or casual. This should be pretty fun. We have two new Planeswalkers. We got a Simic one, Kasmina, Enigma Sage, and then we have a mono black of Professor Onyx, who's actually a familiar face that we've seen before. Let's dive in. First, we have Kasmina, Enigma Sage, not to be confused with Cosima, God of the Voyage. Kind of confusing in my mind. So let's look into what Kasmina can do. So Simic Planeswalker, 3 mana, looks like a 3 mana Planeswalker. Interesting how we have the extended art that we see on Planeswalkers covering up the mana cost there, but I'm pretty sure that's a 1 of generic mana. So let's dive in. 3 mana, we get 2 loyalty, static ability. Each other Planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina. Interesting. +2, scry 1, decent. -X, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put X +1/+1 counters on it, and then -8, its ultimate. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this Planeswalker, exile that creature, exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So overall, what stands out to me is that this is a 3 CMC Planeswalker, or I guess mana value. That terminology is also changing in Strixhaven, but it's only 3 mana to cast. Always piques my interest right away. Low on loyalty, but does plus immediately to 4. So, okay, what can you do? First turn you play this Planeswalker. I think at its absolute floor, worst case happens, you +2, you scry 1 to the top, so you get information but no selection because it's a card you want anyway, and then that you would have drawn anyway, and then they attack this thing dead with creatures they already have on board. That's pretty terrible. But realistically, the floor is more likely that you play this and you -X and X = 2 to create a 2/2. So you get a Gray Ogre, which is bad. 3 mana for a vanilla 2/2, not good. I guess it's a little better because it's +1/+1 counter, so if you're doing shenanigans with that, maybe it's a 3/3 or whatever. But essentially, a Gray Ogre, pretty bad, right? I think we can all agree on that. The +1 or the +2 of scrying 1 is okay. If it was scry 2, that would be bonkers. Scry 2 is almost like drawing a full card, but realistically, we don't get that. We get a scry 1. But the +2 is interesting. I think the most interesting part about this Planeswalker is simply the static ability. The fact that you can now plus Planeswalkers that before could not, right? With War of the Spark, we were introduced to a whole new world of Planeswalkers with 1, static abilities, and 2, uncommon Planeswalkers. And those uncommon ones could only minus loyalty, right? They might start with high loyalty. Some of them started with like 7 loyalty, but they could only go down. Well, now you can add loyalty to those. So this seems like a Super Friends, casual commander type of card. This does not strike me as being super powerful in constructed of standard or pioneer or modern. There could be some shenanigans with the -8 and allowing other Planeswalkers to do that immediately, because once you're getting any type of sorcery, it has to, or instant, it does have to share a color with the Planeswalker that's doing it. Notice that it is this Planeswalker, it's not Kasmina. So if you had, for example, Ugin come down and have, like -8, it would have to grab a colorless, right? Because it doesn't have any color itself. So that is something to know. Overall, my impression is that this is more of a casual Super Friends card. Maybe we'll see this card in standard, in like some type of Super Friends standard deck. There's potential there. I don't think it's going to be like a main powerhouse. You can't really just shove this card into any blue-green pile of cards. Like, it's not going to fit an aggressive deck. It doesn't really do well in a mid-range deck. Like, it doesn't really do much by itself. Seems like a very complementary type card. A Johnny Mentor of Heroes type card where it's like, hey, this card does a lot better in a Super Friends deck. That's what I see happening here. Overall, that's probably where this card's going to lie. But we'll see. You never know. We've been surprised by cards before that we think are unplayable, and now we're super powerful. I mean, the Royal Scions, we see that in Modern, like Modern Death Shadow. So you never know. It could happen. There could be something that I'm missing here, but not too impressed. Now, Professor Onyx, super interesting card here, mostly because notice it's a Liliana Planeswalker. Yep, so it's a Planeswalker-Liliana. So this is Liliana, but does not have her name in the title of the card. I don't think we've ever seen this before. It's kind of fun, something different. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't change whether or not Magic is a playable game or a fun game, but it is interesting, something different. Now, we all knew Strixhaven is a Harry Potter ripoff, right? Now, Strixhaven is not like an officially licensed, Harry Potter partner, right? Like, not like what we're seeing with Lord of the Rings, where we're going to have a set that is actual Lord of the Rings. This is just a ripoff that came, 20 years later after Harry Potter came out. Whatever, we're catching up with the times. But we didn't think this was also going to be a Pokemon ripoff, did we? Did anyone else see that coming? I didn't. I don't think you did either. Professor Onyx, aka Liliana the Professor, she is 6 CMC, 2 black, 4 generic. So immediately when I see 6 CMC, I always think of Elspeth Sun's Champion. That's kind of the highest bar for me to see if this is going to be playable in Standard. Elspeth Sun's Champion, Patrick Chapin took that to Pro Tour Journey into Nyx, I believe, or maybe it was Born of the Gods. I think it was Journey. We saw Ari Lax, take Elspeth all the way to the Championship Pro Tour Kanza Tarkir. So Elspeth is a great 6-mana planeswalker that could, create a bunch of tokens, tons of defense. It could wrath big monsters. It took care of Stormbreath Dragon and other major threats in the format, Pelucranos. So really powerful card. Professor Onyx is probably not at that level, but again, that's like the ceiling. Like, that's the best 6 CMC planeswalker we've ever seen. Is Professor Onyx playable in Constructed? I think so. Let's dive in. So we see Magecraft as its static ability, a new keyword, which is whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell. So I believe Magecraft will just say, whenever you cast instant or sorcery and then X, it can do something different. It's not always going to be the same effect. And in this effect, it's Drain 2. So by itself, I mean, that's not super crazy, but it's nice. Like, it's nice to think about, hey, if ever I'm casting a removal spell, it also has Drain 2 attached to it. Like, that makes all your spells just better. So definitely a nice bonus. I think that's great. 5 loyalty, +1, you lose a life, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of those cards into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. -3, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. And then its ultimate -8, each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 more times. Okay, let's dive into this card. So the static ability, again, I think is great. It's a great bonus just to have on top of this powerful planeswalker. Who doesn't mind adding a Drain 2 to every spell they have? The +1, we're not too surprised to see a planeswalker that can draw cards every single turn. It does cost you a life, so this reminds me of Ob Nixilis, because it's, hey, plus, lose 1 life, draw a card. But this is not just drawing a card, this is strategic planning, which is really, really powerful. Not only is it card selection, it's also graveyard enablers. This is going to be awesome. I see this, honestly, overall, I see Professor Onyx as being a card that you would put in some type of like Jund mid-range shell, right? I mean, we love Binding of the Gods. That's a standard staple. It's a really powerful card. And then you think about maybe dumping like a Kroxa or an Ox of Agonis into your graveyard, right? Like, how powerful is that? Not only are you fueling more cards to pay for the escape, but you can actually just throw escape cards into your graveyard while selecting a different card, right? So you need that removal spell, go grab your removal spell. You need another threat, grab your threat while throwing other threats into your graveyard. I think this is really powerful. I think being able to have strategic planning on a planeswalker is awesome, especially when you consider some type of shell that's actually taking advantage of the extra cards in your graveyard, because then it's like a +2, right? You throw an Ox or a Kroxa into your graveyard, and you grab a Binding of the Old Gods that was in the top 3 and put it into your hand so you can play that the next turn, remove something. I think that's really powerful. Awesome ability. The -3 is like a Crackling Doom effect, right? Each opponent sacks the creature with greatest power. That's excellent. It's nice that when you have edict effects or sacrifice effects that it does something, it conditions them to make them get something more powerful. One thing that I think stands out to me is that it is power, which usually is what you want. Usually you want to get their biggest, strongest creature, but not always. Sometimes you want the highest CMC, right, with Toski. So Toski, it's a 1/1, so you're never going to get this thing unless it's the only thing out there. But being able to get the thing with the highest power is still really powerful. I think that's a great effect. It's a great removal option on its -3 ability. And then it's -8. Yeah, typical, pretty much a game winner. I'm not guaranteed. But again, if this is in some type of mid-range shell where you're already doing damage to their face and you're already taxing their opponents and it's a battle of resources and you're trying to get every 2-for-1 you can, this is basically a game winner. So overall, my impression, Professor Onyx, awesome. Weird that we have Liliana being with no first name, but it's a proper school, right? This is a proper academy of mages. This is Strixhaven. We do not call our professors by their first name. We call them by their titles. Professor Onyx. Though is Onyx really Liliana's last name? Like, is that true, or is this just some weird assumed identity? Maybe that's the case. Maybe like this, no one knows this Liliana. Maybe that's part of the story. I don't know. That could be fun. That it's like, oh, Professor Onyx, you look like this lady I know who made a pact with the demon and is like really evil, but you must be like her cousin or just a coincidence. You're not her. And she's like, yeah, no, I'm not Liliana. Never heard Liliana in my... Nope, not me. Who knows? There could be fun stuff with the story going on there. Or maybe Onyx actually just is her last name, and I didn't know that, but I don't think it is. Anyway, great cards overall. Excited to see what next we have coming for Strixhaven. Like and subscribe. We'll keep going with the spoilers as they start on Thursday. See you next time.